Hi, thanks for joining. This is Jessie, and this is my 2021 year-end review. I read a number of different genres this year. It was a really interesting year as far as reading for me. I didn't read a lot of books, like novels in their entirety or collections. The total, when I am done with this year, is going to end up being 26, and that includes A Storyteller by Dave Grohl, as well as The Shadow Rising by Robert Jordan. So the books I read this year were Gardens of the Moon by Steven Erikson, Rabbits by Terry Miles, Deadhouse Gates by Steven Erikson, My Best Friend's Exorcism by Grady Hendrix, Without Remorse by Tom Clancy, I Am Watching You by Teresa Driscoll. This was an ARG book club pick for work. Things Have Gotten Worse Since Last We Spoke by LaRocca, The Downstairs Girl by Stacy Lee. This is another ARG book club pick for work. My Heart is a Chainsaw by Stephen Graham Jones. Strange Weather in Tokyo by Hiromi Kawakami. The Mad Women's Ball by Victoria Moss, and this was an ARC from Netgalley. The Eye of the World by Robert Jordan. The Great Hunt by Robert Jordan. The Dragon Reborn by Robert Jordan. The Call of the Wild by Jack London. The History of the Kings of Britain by Geoffrey of Monmouth. This was a school requirement. Norton Introduction to Literature. This was a school requirement. Backpack Literature. This was a school requirement. The Complete Romances of Chrétien de Troyes. This was a school requirement. The Lay of Marie de France. This was a school requirement. Under Her Skin by Lindy Ryan. This was an ARC from Netgalley and Black Spot Books. In Defense of Witches by Mona Cholette. This was an ARC from Netgalley. These are not the entirety of what I read. I read a number of short stories, poems, some texts from textbooks, essays and articles for both school and for myself. What did I learn this year? Steven Erikson is a hell of a storyteller, and I do plan to restart the Malazan Book of the Fallen series and read it in its entirety. I just really, it was such a perfect time to start reading The Wheel of Time again after all these years, because the Prime series was coming out, and once I started, it still does it for me. I absolutely love the story. I don't like Tom Clancy books. Nostalgia chic, a la 80s and 90s, is a new favorite genre for me. So I'm talking Rabbits by Terry Miles, My Best Friend's Exorcism by Grady Hendrix, and if you haven't seen 8-Bit Christmas, it is a really cute movie to watch with your kids. That is also part of that. Poetry can still make me ugly cry. So I'm talking Under Her Skin, and I did a review of that. It is set to come out in, I believe, April or May of 2022. Phenomenal book. Retellings are okay. I took an Arthurian Legends class this year, and if you've taken an Arthurian Legends class, or if you're just obsessed with Arthurian Legends, then you know how many retellings of the Arthurian Legends that there are. And so when it comes to retellings, and yes, I am talking about the Wheel of Time series, as far as the books and the Prime series is concerned, retellings are okay by me. So the best book that I've read this year outside of any series is going to have to be Rabbits by Terry Miles. I don't necessarily have like a worst book I've read, but my least favorite, or the one that was least enjoyable for me, is In Defense of Witches. And that is going to wrap up my 2021. Sorry, this is so short. Like I said, it wasn't really a big year for me as far as getting a lot of novels in. It wasn't a 2018 where I got almost 60 novels in addition to working full time and kids and everything. But it was an enjoyable year. I really did enjoy it. And I got to read a lot of things that I wouldn't have read otherwise if it weren't for ARCs and maybe the book club at work and recommendations from other booktube channels. And that's it. Thanks for coming along on this ride with me, and I will have out my 2022 to read list here shortly.